Welcome to the Heavy Sweater Podcast. My name is John King. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If this is your first time listening, this is the Heavy Sweater Podcast. It's a deep dive into the beginnings of local Australian musicians and bands. And because last week's episode and the following three, like this week, next week, and the following week, are done over Zoom, we'll finally have some real video content. And moving forward, I'll be trying to look at using the webcam I bought to do these Zoom ones in filming the future ones. So hopefully that works out well. And this week's guest is Adam Finlay from Wildheart. We get into his beginnings, going from Cairns and starting Seven Skies to coming to Brisbane and transitioning into Wildheart and everything up until now. Just his journey through heavy music. And Wildheart are a killer band. They're doing great stuff. They've got a couple of new songs out now, Backburner and False Hope, Fake Happiness. Check them out wherever you listen to music, and you can also check out their entire back catalogue. It's fucking great stuff. They're a great band. So with all that being said, it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. Hey, man.
Hey.
What's going on?
Not much, dude. Just chilling at home.
Fuck yeah.
Living that lockdown life.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's fucking shit house.
Yep. we gotta do what we gotta do.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. Cool. We'll get straight into like the beginnings for you. And what's the first heavy band you remember listening to or hearing for the first time?
The first band, like proper, like heavy band I heard, I think was Amon Amarth.
Oh,
I was like, yeah,
sick.
Because I was hard out into like more death metal stuff when I started discovering heavy bands.
Yeah.
It wasn't until a few years later that I started to discover like hardcore and stuff like that.
Okay.
As well.
Sick. So that's like the beginnings. Like there's nothing before that for you?
Not really. Hey, I kind of went from 0 to 100.
That's
because I wasn't.
Hectic.
Yeah. Like I'd heard like Linkin Park and Slipknot and Mudhoney and stuff like that. But then like I had a friend in high school who already like found all these bands like Amon Amarth, Childer Bodom, Behemoth.
Just that.
And because you remember how back in the day MSN used to show like bands that you were listening to.
Yeah.
So like I just watched what he was listening to, and then like I just checked it out one day, and I was like, "Holy fuck!" Like it was like I was a little intimidated, but at the same time I was like, "This is really cool."
Yeah, fuck yeah, that's so sick. So just straight into European metal.
Pretty much, hey.
Yeah,
went from like basically nothing to that, and then I was just constantly in his ear about like who else have you found?
Okay, yeah.
And then we just kept like picking up bands and stuff.
Yeah, that's so sick.
But yeah, they were my first like hard out heavy band that I listened to.
Fuck yeah. I didn't find out about them until like way later on in like my childhood. Like I'd gone through the emo shit and then started picking up Metal Hammer magazines. That's when like the European metal like came in fucking hard.
Yeah.
Which is sick.
There are still a couple of bands from that era that I still listen to a fair bit.
Okay.
I still listen to a lot of Soilwork and Dark Tranquillity is another one that I've always liked.
Sick. Fuck yeah.
I still listen to a bit of like In Flames and stuff, but not so much their newer material.
Yeah. Just like the nostalgia side of that stuff.
Yeah, I think like Come Clarity was always my favorite album by them.
Fuck yeah. Sick. That's so crazy. Out of all the ones I've done, it's never just been like straight up like European brutals.
No, there was no slow build or anything like that. It was just like literally checked out this band one day, downloaded a song on LimeWire. It was like, holy crap. Holy crap. This this is weird. Like, I was a little bit like shocked.
Yeah,
but
it's very confronting as a child.
I think it was the vocals that really, it was make or break. If you couldn't jive with it, then no. But after a couple listens, I was like, nah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, sick. Fuck yeah. Especially going like that drastic, because like I had built up to it, so by the time I got to like that and Danny Filth, I was like pretty conditioned, but like coming from like Linkin Park, like the more radio friendly side of heavy music to just fucking so sick.
Death metal growls and all that. Yep.
Fuck yeah. And then what makes you want to start playing guitar?
Funnily enough, it was kind of a mixture of them, because they wrote really cool like riffs.
Yeah.
Like when I got my first guitar, I think I basically taught myself. I would just get all the tabs for all the Monomar stuff and just start learning band material. But then that's my same friend Matt from high school. He also showed me what was it? He showed me John Petrucci. He's like, he plays for this band called Dream Theater, but he's like, check out Liquid Tension Experiment, which was like his little side project.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, this dude is insane at guitar. And I tried to learn some of their stuff just as like a, to challenge myself. But essentially it was just like so many other people, it was just I got a guitar and I got tabs for bands music that I listened to that I really liked and just tried to learn it. And even when I started getting more into hardcore and stuff like that, or metalcore and hardcore, it was the same thing. Like just I'd listen to their stuff and then I'd try to learn their songs. And just did that for 10 years essentially.
Fuck yeah, cool. And then
eventually, there you go.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
I eventually started writing my own riffs.
Okay, yeah.
At some point, I think when I started my first.
Oh, sick! I think there's like a like time period between where you have to like learn all that shit before you can like flush out all the creative like nothingness that you have to like get to writing your own songs.
Absolutely. Like I'd already been studying music for a few years when I got my first guitar, because I started playing the saxophone when I was like 6 or 7 or something. So I sort of had some understanding of music. I was always playing in tune. For the most part. So I kind of understood music to a degree and had a sense of melody, timing.
Fuck yeah.
But a lot of it is just kind of like you need to build up your chops and and kind of get a bit of an understanding of how songs are structured.
Instead of like this part's cool, then this part's also cool.
Instead of just trying to cobble together, this riff sounds cool, this riff sounds pretty cool, and just kind of
put them together.
I mean, I still have to check myself on that. Even when I'm writing today, it's just focusing on actually writing a song, not just throwing different riffs together.
I'm definitely guilty of that. I love a good riff.
I think it was probably when I was 15 when I grabbed the guitar, and then I joined like a legit band when I was like 17, 18.
Okay.
And started writing music together.
Was that Seven Skies or before that?
No, that was Seven Skies.
Oh, sick. That's so sick. Because that band did like heaps of stuff.
We did a fair bit. We did heaps, 2 EPs. And I think I can't remember if we did. I think we did some stuff before the first EP.
Okay.
But the cool thing was back then, like, it didn't matter if you had recordings or not. Like, there was a whole bunch. It was probably like an EP's worth of music that we just played live that never got recorded. Because people didn't care. They just wanted to go to a show, and see bands.
Yeah.
You know,
Especially like that time period where like that was like 2015, 2014? Or
even
that?
earlier than that,
Earlier than
when
that,
we
yeah,
first started.
yeah.
When
So
we
like
first started.
around when like Signal the Firing Squad was still getting around and Tomb of Doom and
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Because we started in my hometown up in Cairns.
Okay, fuck yeah.
And basically it was because it was just a local, like, rural music scene.
Yeah.
Kids would just come out to shows.
Yeah.
They didn't give a fuck who was playing. It was just, is it remotely heavy? You know, is there at least one breakdown? Yeah, we don't sick. We don't care. We'll have a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was sick because you know, all the, like, there were a few people around who would try to get bigger bands up, you know, Brisbane bands and stuff.
Yeah.
It was just a sick time. You know,
Okay.
there was no clicky scene shit. It was just,
yeah.
hey, you have cool riffs. I will mosh to your band.
Yeah, fuck yeah. That's so sick. I think like even around that time period, Brisbane seemed like it was sort of the same. It wasn't like
I think it was the same everywhere.
yeah,
People were
yeah,
just way more passionate about local music.
yeah,
And just going to a show for the sake of going to a show.
yeah,
But yeah, it's hard because you know, I mean, especially at the moment, but even before then, like, the local all ages scene was just like, by the time we moved to Brisbane, it was already like doing
on the
that, you
decline.
know,
Yeah,
on the decline. And
yeah,
that's, you know, that's a mixture of, I think, just general apathy and, you know, the fact that there were no fucking venues left.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. And now even more so than before
Yeah.
with like Crowbar going down, which fucking sucks.
Yeah. That one hurt. It was
Yeah,
like our second home.
well, yeah. I frothed Crowbar. It was like the Brisbane venue that treated you like you were an actual band,
Yeah,
which I
for
loved.
sure.
Yeah, which was great. And then to go back before Seven Skies, what takes you from just playing in your room to being like, hey, I could be in a band also?
Uh, so like I basically met a bunch of people through some friends in high school. I think it was 2006 maybe.
Okay.
I Killed the Prom King came up to Cairns.
Yes.
I think they just put out, was it Musically for the Recently Deceased? I think that
Um,
had just,
yeah.
I don't know if, yeah, it was either like, no, it must have come out because Ed was singing. So they came up and played like, uh, and a bunch of, there was like a couple of other local bands that played, and a couple of bands, it was like a band from Townsville. And I met like all those dudes and started hanging out with them and started, because they would put on shows. So start going to shows,
Yeah.
you know, meeting these people, hanging out with them. Got introduced to a whole bunch of bands that I'd never heard of before, mostly like Bury Your Dead.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
TGI's first album came out
Yeah.
not long after.
Sick.
And just started hanging with them. And
Fuck yeah.
their band, one of the dudes, Todd, who played in a band called Eyeless Youth, was like, they'd sort of finished up, and he's like,
Okay.
"Oh, we're probably going to start a new band." So it's basically just a couple dudes from two other local bands
Yeah.
got together, and then they asked me if I wanted to come write some riffs because I wasn't a. He's like, "You're a pretty good guitarist. You're better than me. You actually practice your instrument." I was like, "Yeah, I'll come have a jam." And we just had a garage jams, you know, throughout a bunch of ideas, and we're like, "Oh, this is kind of cool. Doesn't suck."
Fuck yeah.
So we just started writing music, and then I think about a month later, we played our first show.
Cool. Fuck yeah. Quick. That's so
Very
sick.
quick. It was like, can we throw together 4 songs and a cover or something like that? And
yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much what we did.
Fuck
Because I
yeah.
had a bunch of just random ideas that I'd sort of just put together, and yeah, we just jammed it out.
That's so
No
sick.
pressure or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck yeah. Just like local dudes just doing local shit. That's so sick.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
absolutely.
And what's your first guitar that you got from like when you started at 15?
I can't even remember the brand,
Fuck yeah.
but it was one of the music store guitar and like crappy little amplifier combos.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sick.
Um,
So good.
and it was great. Like it was a Strat replica.
Fuck yeah.
And it served me very well. I got a few years out of that.
Fuck yeah.
And then a friend of mine, his brother had a Jackson Dinky
Oof,
that he didn't really use. So he let me borrow that for a couple of years before I moved away. And he also had like a little Fender combo thing that was slightly better than my other shitty combo. So I borrowed that. And then I was like, I really need to buy like a better guitar that's mine. And then I ended up buying a Jackson Kelly, which is like the Explorer shaped ones. It was such a like I sold it a few years ago. I really wish I didn't. I really regret selling it. I was like at the time, no, I don't really play it anymore.
Yeah.
I'll get rid of it. And then like a few years later, I'm like, man, that was such a nice guitar. Why the fuck did I get rid of it?
Yeah. I literally am like that with one of my Ibanez's that I'd sold. I swapped it for a 7-string Schecter, and now I'm like, shouldn't have got rid of it.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
Yeah. Dumb as fuck. But I've got another Schecter that's actually sick. Yeah.
We did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the same thing. Like, because we were fucking around in like low tunings and stuff, and we're like, oh, we really need some either like a couple of baritones or some 7-strings. So yeah, we bought 2 Schecters.
Yeah.
Like me and Todd both bought a Schecter, and then I had that for a few years actually, and then eventually bought Todd's off him because he wasn't playing it anymore. And then
the white ATX C1?
Yep.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
C7. And then I had a black and the cream one, and I ended up selling the black one.
Yeah.
And I kept the other Schecter for a few years, and then I ended up buying a custom Sir guitar.
Yeah. Is that what you use now? The white one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks fucking sick.
It's a very nice guitar.
Yeah.
So I used that, and then I bought the I actually sold the Schecter to Axel.
Okay. Sick.
Because he was chasing a 7-string. So
yeah.
And then I bought the E2, the ESP E2.
Oh yeah. The Seafoam Telly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Those are so sick.
Very, very good value for money. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. I've from LTDs and ESPs. They're so sick.
It's kind of become like my studio recording guitar. It gets a little bit of love live, but mostly play the Sir because it's the Sir's a couple kilos lighter.
Yeah, that definitely fucking helps.
Doesn't hurt my shoulder as much, which is good.
Yeah, I've got this BMT bass that I just got, and it's so heavy. Like, I'll go to a practice out at Via and just like run through the set a couple of times, and the next day I'm rat shit.
Yeah,
heavy guitar.
It's old age for you. I have to sit down and jam, so I'm not standing the whole time.
For sure. See, so Seven Skies works its way to Brisbane, and you just play like heaps of shows, killer shows, and then that wraps up. And is Wildheart like straight away?
Pretty much, yeah. So we moved to Brisbane, and like a couple of dudes left, and eventually Axel ended up joining Seven Skies for about a year and a half or something, and then our drummer and bass player were kind of like, not really feeling it anymore.
Yeah.
And then myself, Axel, and our old guitarist Hagen were like, well, we want to keep writing music, so we're just gonna keep going. So we found a couple of other dudes to play drums and bass, and we basically just were like, let's just start something completely fresh, no like no predetermined like notion of what we were going to sound like or anything. We just knew that we wanted to be uh we still wanted to be heavy,
Yeah.
but we wanted to put a bit more emphasis on melody
Yeah.
and um and just I think it was just passionate music, like lyrically as well. Like, when we started, it was a lot of like sad boy lyrics, and
Okay.
sort of
Yeah. Yeah.
transitioned into
Yeah.
more politically charged material
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of like the basic premise, heavy and melodic, and that hasn't really changed. It's just obviously as we've gone through the years, we've gotten a little bit more kind of focused in our direction.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Cool. And there been much of a drastic change in the writing process between Seven Skies and the beginning of Wildheart and then the beginning to
Yeah,
now?
yeah, very different. Like Seven Skies was literally like we'd sit in the jam room and write.
Okay, yeah.
We really didn't like we'd sort of write a song and then go and record it, basically.
Okay, yeah.
Whereas Wild Heart, we wrote and pre-prod everything and then went and recorded it properly.
Yeah.
Uh, so that first EP was just we just did it all ourselves,
Yeah.
and then yeah, it's sort of like we basically like someone will record a demo, um, and then bring it to the group, we'll jam it live, get a bit of a feel for it.
Yeah.
Sometimes like I might write something and it clicks instantly. Everyone's like, yeah, that's sick, cool.
Yeah.
And then other times you might write something and then you jam it live and something's not quite right. A part feels a bit weak or a bit too long, and then go back to the recording and tweak it a little bit and then
Yeah.
show everyone and then jam that new version. So it's a little bit of back and forth, but
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot more emphasis on sort of demoing now.
Yeah. Doing what's best for the songs instead of just putting out content.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because sort of over the last couple of years, sort of from like when we put out We Are, I was like a lot more focused on just writing writing better songs in the context of like trying to be a better songwriter.
Yeah.
One thing that I noticed with our earlier stuff was our old guitarist Hagen. He was like I was like a little bit more technical.
Okay, yeah.
I was technically the better player, but he was way better at structuring
Okay.
songs.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas I would tend to like write. Uh, I'd have like a riff, and that would kind of change and evolve over the course of the song.
Yeah.
Which I still do sometimes. Like I
Yeah.
still like writing songs that kind of evolve, but
Yeah.
I kind of thought to myself, I need to kind of focus on that a little bit more. So that's
Okay.
kind of been a big part of my songwriting recently.
Fuck
That's
yeah.
the cool thing with like sitting in front of a computer is you can do that. You can
Yeah,
just
you can spend
sit
however
and
long.
listen to it, move things around,
Yeah.
and then kind of take it to the group and see how it feels in a live environment.
Yes.
Like I said, sometimes it works straight away, and then other times it just doesn't feel quite right, and then you go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's like a step that needs to be learned from like just hammering out songs for like a certain amount of time, or like being in bands for a certain amount of time. You realize like the little tricks and tips to like make songs better as quick as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Like anyone can write a cool sounding riff.
Yeah.
But like I'm trying to like it's sort of like spending more time thinking about like the actual structure of the song.
Yeah.
And like, the cool riffs are still going to be there.
Yeah. 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 But the song's got to
just
feel
more like
a certain way. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I think Rising Tide was probably the best example of where everything kind of came together. It was, it had cool riffs, but it actually had like a really solid kind of, structure to it, and had like a hooky chorus. Because that was a big thing as well. Like I was like listening to like some of the earlier stuff, and it's like there's not like a defined chorus in a lot of this, at least in a lot of the ones that I'd written.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need like a hook to grab people and bring them back. So
yeah, I'm sort of like that now with like my writing. I love a fucking sick riff, but I don't overly care too much about a chorus.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some like there's stuff that I have written where it doesn't have one. You know.
Yeah.
Like what was like Calloused is a good example of like a song that I wrote where it basically doesn't repeat. There's like one riff that repeats, but everything is different.
Yeah. That's
and it's
so
cool.
sick.
Like it gives the song a really strong sense of momentum.
Yeah. And it's also challenging to like find something different to put in next that's not repeated.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to have a bit of a mix, I think, because if everything followed the exact same structure across like a 5-track or an album, people are gonna get bored. You need to throw them little curveballs to keep them interested.
Yeah, definitely. Fuck yeah. Sick. And the new tracks are fucking sick. Backburner's fucking ripper. It is such a fucking slapper track. But yeah, where's the direction for the new stuff going from the last bunch of songs?
It's definitely getting a little bit more worldly, a little bit more politically charged. Like we did, like we kind of dabbled into it on We Are, but not. It didn't feel like it hit very hard.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I remember we put that out, and it did pretty well. Like it was received really well, and we were like, well, we probably need to have something just in the backlog to release in like a year's time or something.
Yeah.
So I sort of threw together this more kind of riffy, hardcore orientated thing, and everyone was like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And then Axel sent the lyrics through, and I was like, holy fuck, dude, like you're not pulling any punches. And then I was like, yeah, cool, let's roll with that. And then he went and did it, like he demoed his vocals.
Yeah.
He started doing this like, the comeback kid kind of like pitched yelling, and I was like, where the fuck has that been this whole time? And it just sat so well over the chorus, and kind of like that was, I think, a bit of a jumping off point, because we did that and we're like, that's really cool, like we should keep doing that. And like we do have other stuff that's not political. That's kind of more akin to other earlier stuff we've done. More kind of like personal stuff, but like Backburner, I guess, is kind of a it really takes the same essence of Rising Tide, but it's kind of supercharged.
Fuck yeah, that's so sick. Because like that new stuff is like, I was blown the fuck away. Like I frothed all the other stuff, but like that was fucking wild. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. Thanks, man. It's so weird because you just don't know. Like you can have like a moment of like, yeah, this is pretty cool, but it's really hard to like know how people are going to react to it. But like the reaction to Backburner especially has been overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, I think like it can get like that if you're like spending like too much time around like your songs where like they're too close for you to be like, is this like where it needs to be or not?
Yeah. I have a like I definitely force myself to call it time. There is a point, and this is just one of these things that you just learn. Is you just, and it can be anything from like working on an individual idea or the song as a whole or an EP or whatever. At some point, you just got to call it time, and just because or else you get stuck in a feedback loop. Essentially, you just got to trust that you've done the right thing and just move on to the next thing. And then if you might listen back to it and be like, I could have done that differently. Okay, I won't do that again.
Next time I'll do the next time.
Absolutely, because if you spend too much time stressing over it being good and not kind of just trusting yourself, you're just going to end up not going anywhere really.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and just I guess having faith in yourself a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fuck
Um,
yeah.
yes, similar. Like it, Backburner was really cool because we we kind of toyed with the idea of having like we had like that intro and there's just this kind of dead air and I was like saying to Axel like, oh, we should find you need to find like a quote or something.
Mm.
And then he sent me the video of Bruce Shillingsworth on Q&A, and I was like, man, if we could have him on, that would be really cool. And he like
Yeah.
officially endorsed us
Oh, sick.
to put him on there.
Fuck yeah,
He
that's
like
excellent.
reached out to Axel and said, I'm more than happy to have that on there.
That's so sick. That is rad.
Yeah, that
Fuck
was
yeah.
very cool.
Fuck yeah. Well, yeah, if like from everything that you've gone through with music, if you could have done it all again, is there anything you'd change at all?
Uh yeah, definitely.
Sick.
But I'm blanking. I'm blanking on what. Um I think it's just one of those. It's kind of like what I was saying with songwriting before. Like it's very easy to kind of look back and be like, oh fuck, like I don't know what I should have done different.
Yeah.
Um, I think, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have that many regrets
Yeah.
as far as like um, what we've done. Because like like looking back on Seven Skies, it was so like amateurish. Like
Okay.
we used to just fumble our way through things, but it was
So sick.
so much fun. Like we used to do like these little like weekender runs.
Yeah.
Someone would organize uh like I remember Amity came up on weekend
Okay.
and we did like Cairns Towns on Mackay, and it was just insane. Like
Yeah.
how we organized anything, and like we hadn't even
Oh fuck.
recorded anything like properly. It was just
Yeah.
we just used to fumble our way through, and that worked so well up like in like rural
Yeah.
like show situations and stuff. But sort of coming down into Brisbane, it was just a completely different ball game. And
Yeah.
I wish I had have known now what I know now when like not that I don't like playing in Wildheart, but I do sometimes think like I think Seven Skies probably could have gone a little further if we'd had a better idea of what to
Yeah.
do.
For sure.
Like, and it's just one of those things. It's just like you just learn as you go.
Yeah.
Um,
Young kids from
and
a
like having
small town doing
yeah,
the thing. Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and that's one of the great things about having Andrew in the band is because he's been in Brisbane the whole time.
Yeah.
He was like we met him when Seven Scars was still a thing.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of how he ended up joining the band because he came on one of the last tours we did,
Okay.
just
Yeah.
as like a roadie. He's like, I'll come hang out for the weekend.
Sick.
And we like clicked really well. But yeah, he's kind of has been a guiding light navigating all the shit you got to do to get everything done. Like
all the
you need to
scene
talk to
shit.
this person.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if we had Andrew back then, maybe it would have gotten a little. I don't know if it would have necessarily lasted longer, but
okay.
Maybe things would have been a little bit more consistent.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So just like the networking side of things.
I think so. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Because really, like, yeah, back home, like back in Cairns, it's like you really didn't like networking was everyone knew each other.
Yeah. So like the networks were already.
It really like and like I said earlier, like there was no clicky scene crap.
Yeah.
There's no real drama.
Yeah.
Everyone just got along. Everyone was there for the same reason, whether you were just attending or playing. Like you were just there to have a good time.
Yeah, simple times.
Play some breakdowns.
Fuck yeah. Mosh hard.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, sick. All right, well, we'll get into your top 5 favorite bands, man, of all
Oh,
time.
okay. Cool. Oof.
It
All right.
stumps everybody.
Yeah. It's good though.
Yeah.
Top 5 favorite bands. Hmm. You're gonna have to edit this out, I reckon. Just me thinking real hard for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, it's all good, man.
I think oh man, I always have a soft spot for especially their early stuff, but I always have a soft spot for the Fallen Dreams
Okay, fuck yeah.
because
Sick.
their first album was such a big deal for me,
Yeah.
especially when I started discovering more hardcore orientated stuff because
Yeah.
it was just like, hey, it's heavy, but it's melodic,
Yeah.
but it's not like metal. It's just a bunch of breakdowns and chords.
Yeah.
So I think I always have a soft spot for them.
Fuck yeah.
And like I can't not say I'm on a Marth. I still chuck them on every now
Yeah, yeah.
because they, you know, like I don't know if I would be listening to heavy music if I hadn't come across
Yeah.
that band.
Yeah, I think everybody's first like introductory band is like always gonna have a soft spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And like they were the first band that I flew to Sydney to see them in 2007, 2008,
That's
because they were doing like an Australian tour, and yeah, it was just like such a fucking cool experience.
yeah. Do you remember who was on that show as well?
I can't remember. It was two local bands that I
Oh,
was
sick.
not interested in. I was like, I didn't fucking pay to see you.
Yeah, sick.
Uh, who else? I probably a more recent band that have kind of slowly become one of my favorite bands, especially over the last few years, would be While She Sleeps.
Oh, fuck oath. They are slept on so
Like,
hard.
yeah, like not only because they write great music, but just their work ethic and their
Yeah.
entire attitude towards everything. Like, even
Yeah.
if we could, like, if we could achieve a smidgen of what they do, like, they just have such a cool relationship with their fans.
Yeah.
Even
Definitely.
before they like started their Patreon
Yeah,
and
yeah,
or Sleep
yeah.
Society,
Yeah, when they were like
like
calling their
they're
fans the Six.
yep,
Yeah, I love that shit.
like they've just always had this really great attitude towards
Yeah, yeah.
everything. And like I remember they crowdfunded You Are We,
Oh yeah.
and you know I just remember that I was just like, man, that is so fucking cool because
Yeah.
they've just made such a big point of like, and like the album You Are We, like you are the reason that we
Yeah.
are here. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
man, that's fucking cool. Like,
Yeah.
and they're just incredibly good live as well.
Yeah. I remember the
Like,
first time I heard about them was their first EP came out with a edition of Metal Hammer, so you got the CD for free if you bought that
yeah,
issue. I remember listening to it and I heard fuck, what's the song? Crows. And I was like,
yeah,
what the fuck is this band? And from then I've been a While She Sleeps fucking sweater so hard. They're
yeah.
so sick.
It was actually our old guitarist who showed me. He's like,
Okay.
I think it was the Four Walls or something. He's like,
Yeah,
check
that's
out
a
this video.
track.
It's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this band's really cool.
They
So
are
I
very
then
cool.
went
Yeah.
back and like listened to like all their older stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember just like, and also like they write really cool riffs.
They do, yeah. The heaps
Like
of leads.
especially the new album. I was just like, this is getting ridiculous now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I think like it sometimes gets lost on them that they're actually great musicians as well.
yeah,
Like
phenomenally great.
the vocals that both of them do, and one of them while playing guitar, and then their drummer, their other guitar player, their bass player, like
Yeah,
just insane.
that's another thing. Like talking about like great songwriting, like their vocal arrangements as well.
Yeah.
Like there are some songs where Laws barely says a word because it's all like Matt and Sean.
Yeah.
And it's fine. He just jumps in for a quick screen here and there.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy. They're a really good band, yeah. And like going completely independent on that last album they put out, like so they could pay their crew essentially.
Yeah.
It was so sick.
Yeah, like we reneged on, was it charting?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
All their charting
so they could pay their crew
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, just I love seeing stuff like that. It's very cool.
It's fucking sick.
All right, who else do I really like? Definitely not scrolling through Spotify right now.
I did one of these with Gertie from Isolation, and he like pulled up his Spotify just beforehand to like get ready for it.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's
fair. Next band. Probably. I would be remiss if I didn't say Architects as well.
Yeah, great band.
Especially like I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan of all their stuff. But I do remember, like someone showed me Hollow Crown and like, oh, they're kind of like Bring Me Horizon but better. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, they're these, because I was just like, fuck, this is nuts. It's like it's all over the shop.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that hooked me was like just the because Sam didn't do as many clean vocals back then, but every so often it would kind of just come in.
Yeah.
But also just like as a guitarist, especially Lost Together, Lost Forever, and All Our Gods, I was just floored by Tom's songwriting.
Incredible songwriting.
Just the riffs that he used to put together. I was just like, this dude is on a completely different like level when it comes to his approach to writing.
Yeah, and not only just guitar,
and it was
like
even
for drums.
Yeah. And he used to do like everything. Like he just come up with all the guitars, and he would go through all that with Dan, and then did a lot of the lyrical stuff, like all the lyrical stuff pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, it was another thing of like, even if I could just have a tiny bit of his talent, you know?
He definitely inspired a lot of guitar players, especially in that like 2012 to 2016 time period. Like just that way of like writing these crazy riffs.
Yeah, there's a funny thing I always think about. Like, it's like when Parkway put out their first album. Killing with a Smile.
Yeah.
Everyone sounded like Parkway. Everyone was writing Parkway riffs. And even when North Lane put out Discoveries, everyone started, all these bands popped up that riffs. Sounded like,
definitely,
it's like whenever there's a staple band, and same thing happened with Architects. There's a lot of bands that owe a lot to Tom Sell.
Yeah, 100%.
Us included.
Yeah.
All right, one more.
Yeah.
One band. I said Parkway before. Oh, I think Killing with a Smile.
Parkway.
Like Parkway. Yeah. Not like they weren't as musically influential.
Yeah.
But like I challenge anyone to watch any one of their DVDs and not feel inspired.
Yeah, 100%. Even the new one on Netflix now, fucking crazy.
Yep. I remember watching the original one, and I just like just their work ethic.
Yeah, 100%.
Like regardless of what you think of their music, like their newer stuff or whatever, or if you're one of those, elitists that only like the first two albums. You can't deny like how hard working those dudes are.
Yeah, considering they were like 5 dudes from Byron that had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah,
and they're like one of the biggest bands in the world.
yeah, like I'd be lying if I said I hadn't sort of lost a little bit of interest with the newer stuff,
Yeah.
but I would still go to a show, you
Yeah.
know, just because like they are that good, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're gonna play like the fucking killer tracks at a show.
Hmm.
Yeah. Even if you don't
And
agree with what they do now.
like they basically like they kicked open the floodgates for
Yeah.
Australian you know, hardcore, you know.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, a big part of why so many Australian bands have had the opportunity, like have had the opportunity to go overseas, and why so many, like I always see comments like an Aussie band gets like a track on Dreambound or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's always people like, what is it with Australians? They always release the sickest music. And
Yeah.
I think a big part of why so many bands get attention from Australia is goes back to Parkway.
Yeah,
Just
definitely. As much as there were
taking the
bands,
world by
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
As much as there were bands before them, like even Prom Queen hadn't reached the levels Parkway did in the amount of time.
Nah,
It was
it
just
was just
something
something.
special.
It was just something with that. Especially Killing with a Smile. Like,
Yeah,
because I remember again, it was like another mate from high school. Because it was like Matt who was more into punk and stuff.
yeah,
Not punk, like metal and stuff. And there was
yeah.
another dude who would come from more like a punk background. He's like,
Okay,
"Oh,
yeah,
you should check out Parkway Drive, man. They're pretty cool." I was
yeah,
like, "Okay." And I was like, "What the fuck, man? Like, this is
yeah.
nuts."
Yeah. The crossover of the punk and fucking metal scenes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's wild.
wild. But then it was still like heaps metal at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Their attitude's punk as fuck, but they're a fucking metal band.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
heaps of pirate riffs.
especially now, man.
Yeah, yeah. They've gone full pirate. It's fucking
You-
sick.
it's so that is such a catchy song, though.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And when I was watching the new documentary, and I was just like, "Fuck!" I've not listened to that new Parkway album, but that lead is just in my brain.
That's another thing as well. Like when you have them playing all the stuff together live, it all just kind of blends together.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah,
I feel like it's always different when you're listening to like when you're listening to recorded music. You're always nostalgic for the old stuff, but
yeah,
you have it when it's all together live. Who gives a fuck?
yeah. Like I think if I was to see Parkway now and saw they play, like see them play new stuff, I'd be like more inclined to check it out later on, opposed to just
Yeah, well,
listening to it.
it was a couple years ago now. I think it might have been their last Australian tour.
Okay, yeah. Was that the one with
Can't-
Polaris opening?
No, they did one with Bring Me Horizon and stuff, but
Yeah, yeah.
they had
Okay,
their
that one.
full on like European setup
Yeah,
with all the lights
yeah.
and fireworks and everything, and like they played. I can't remember if they played anything off Killing with a Smile. I know they played some stuff off Horizons,
Yeah,
but like the new stuff just works live so well.
yeah, yeah,
It was like, holy fuck!
yeah. And
There
it's
was
got
so
even
much
better
happening.
album.
There's always so much happening on stage at any given time.
Yeah, like giving you the show you're paying for, which is fucking awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which was $40 as
Fuck.
well. Like,
Whoa.
oh yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
So there's massive production at River Stage, and it
Yeah.
cost me less than $50 to go.
Fuck, that's insane.
I mean, because they just wanted to keep ticket prices down. I was like,
Yeah, that's wild. Because I
very
think
cool.
like last time I saw Die Hard, I think I paid like $30, and it was just them, Antagonist, and Alpha Wolf at Soul Bar in Maroochydore,
Oh yeah,
which was fucking sick. Great show, but like $40 for Parkway at River Stage is insane.
practically a steal.
Yeah, for sure. Sick. So there's your 5. Killer.
I think so.
Fuck yeah. And are there any bands getting around now that you think people should keep an eye out on?
Man, I weirdly enough have not really been listening to a lot of heavy stuff.
Oh, okay.
I've gone down this like synthwave electronic rock like rabbit hole over the last couple of years. Yeah.
Like what?
So I've been so many different bands, man. Like I can't even like I lose track of them because I find new stuff every week.
That's excellent.
But what have I been? I know that there'll be something heavy that I have been listening to that I've forgotten about.
Okay.
Nah, it's escaped me.
Don't check out anything.
Yeah, just fucking. But don't even worry about it.
Yeah, listen to new Wildheart when it comes out, and yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah, don't listen to anyone else. Yeah. Listen to my band.
Yeah, sick. And then what's your social media handles?
My personal one is Instagram is @Patch Adams, and then Wildheart. Basically, everything is We Are Wildheart.
Sick. And new stuff coming soon. Yeah.
Yes, we have more new stuff coming very soon.
Fuck yeah.
Which I'm very excited to show everyone.
Fuck yeah. I'm keen for it.
So yeah.
Yeah, sick.
Are you
still streaming?
No, not anymore.
Okay. Because I remember beginning
COVID, it was
the first one.
Yeah, I dabbled in it for a bit, but it's just kind of it's hard to find the time for it because I still work full time, and then we've got all the band shit that we're trying to organize.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
Maybe when that's out the way, but at the same time, I've been writing again.
Okay, cool. Fuck yeah.
So like I'm trying to get ahead of the curve so that I've always got something in the back burner. But yeah, I can't say too much, but I'm very keen to get to the end of the year, and there will be there'll be a couple extra songs out by the end of the year.
Fuck yeah, cool.
Yeah, start working on some new stuff.
Excellent. Cool. Thanks for doing the podcast, man.
Man, happy to. It's been fun.
Awesome. I'm glad. There we go. Done for another week. A huge thanks to Adam for doing the podcast. And like he said in the podcast, you can check him out on Instagram @patch_Adams with a Z instead of an S. And check out Wildheart on Instagram @WeAreWildheart and Wildheart on Facebook and YouTube, as well as wherever you listen to music. If you like what I'm doing over here with the podcast, share it, tell a friend, and subscribe and follow on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube, or wherever you listen. And on Instagram and Facebook @HeavySweaterPodcast. Yeah, let's fucking work together, build up local Australian music again to a place where it used to be. And yeah, we'll have a new episode next week. I'll see you then, I guess. Thanks.